Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a bit of a book review, a bit of a reading vlog. I'm going to sprinkle in some clips, and I'm also going to talk about NetGalley. So if you guys are big readers and you're into all that online stuff, then you probably know what NetGalley is. I've known about it for a while, but I used it for the first time for this book that I'm reviewing. And so NetGalley is like a online interface where you can go and make an account, and then you can request books that haven't been officially published yet. So these are like online arcs that you can request to get, and then I guess the publisher will like deny you or accept you, and they'll give you the book. You read it and then you review it like on the website. I think they like, I don't know if they prefer if you have like social media accounts, but that is something that was like heavily kind of said like on the app while I was making an account, so I can only assume they kind of like when you have that stuff. And you just read books and then you submit reviews for them, so that's kind of cool. So I did that for the first time last week. I made an account and I just had a couple books that I was interested in, and I kind of put in my request for them, and I got one back. It was Come Fly With Me by Camille Di Maio. I really hope I'm saying that right. If I am not, I really apologize, Camille, because this video that I'm about to make about your book is only praise. I am completely obsessed. You guys don't understand. Okay, so I just love the feeling of reading a book where you've never heard of the author and you've never heard of anyone else like talking about this book, hyping this book up. And I've also never read a book about this topic and about this plot line. So having all of those things be completely new for me was so, it just made the book 10 times better. It was breathtaking, it was glorious, it was so sad and so uplifting. And it really, as a woman, because this book is like women's fiction, historical fiction, it just made me feel powerful, and it made me feel empowered to make decisions for me and make decisions that are going to impact my own life and not because of someone else. So, super quick synopsis about this book. It's 1962, the dawn of the jet set era. Hope takes flight for two Pan Am stewardesses, navigating an adventurous new life in a novel about love, friendship, and escape by the best-selling author of Memory of Us and Until We Meet. So, when I like chose this book on NetGalley, the only thing I knew about it was that it was historic, so it's going to be set back then, and I knew there were stewardesses. That's all I knew, and I was like, I'm in, because there used to be this TV show called Pan Am. I think it only got one season, it got canceled. I've never seen it, but I always told myself I wanted to watch it. And the reason why I never bit the bullet and started watching the show was because I always get super like nervous of like starting shows that I know got canceled and that I know only have one season, because I am so terrified of getting like obsessed with it and then knowing that is going to leave me on a cliffhanger that will never be resolved. So for that reason, I kind of always put off watching that show, but knowing that this book was going to be centered and centralized on a similar plot as that was so intriguing for me. So let me tell you about my reading experience. This is historical fiction, women's fiction. I would also put this in book club because this would be a perfect book to kind of discuss with other people. We are following two main characters, both women. We get dual perspectives, which I usually don't love, but this was super great. Like, it was done so amazingly. Also, not only do we get two perspectives, but we also get kind of drops of like journal entries by one of our characters. And the really cool thing about the book is that whenever you get the journal entries, you don't actually know which character is like the journal entries are about. Like, you don't know who's actually writing the journal, and you know, during those journal entries they're dropping in hints of like really sad and like depressing things that are going to be happening in the book, but you don't know who it's going to be happening to. So like, you have to wrap your brain around sadness incoming. Like, you really have to wrap your brain around knowing that a sad event is coming up, but kind of push it away and just focus on the present. Our two characters, Judy and Beverly, I adore both of them. I truly do. But to be honest, if I had to pick one, I'm gonna pick Beverly, because I feel like she was such a oh, I was just like a breath of fresh air. You have this character who is like 22 years old. She grew up rich, but she decides to leave her family and leave all of that behind because her father is pretty much making her marry this man that she does not love. And she doesn't feel in control of her life. She doesn't feel like she's doing anything with her life. So she leaves and she interviews to be a Pan Am stewardess. Now, learning about Pan Am and learning about the career of being a stewardess is so awesome because you just learned in the 1960s, women kind of have a lot of stigmas surrounding them, and people in general kind of have this stigma of, you know, women should be receptionists, they should be bookkeepers, you know what I mean? Like there's just like a select few jobs that are like accepted by society for women to be doing. And so for these two characters to kind of make that plunge to become stewardesses was so cool because that was like the one job that they kind of highlighted in that time period where women were like beloved and like celebrated, and it was a way for them to truly carve out their own life and to make a career where they were able to travel the world. This is Pan Am, so it's an international like it's like an international what is it, airline, and so you get so many different locations throughout this book, and it's so cool. And the way she weaves every character's storyline together, we see both of our characters fall in love. Oh, this is so good, guys. This is so good. Oh my god, I finished this book. I think I had like 20% left, and I finished it like in one sitting. And I remember like reading it, I was like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, because the tension was building, and you could like tell that great things are happening, but also in the back of my mind I was like, y'all better get ready because shit's about to go down. And it did go down. Obviously no spoilers, but I cried like hysterically. It was just, it was like masterful, like just the way that she made you care, and the way, oh my god, it was just so weird how much that impacted me. Like it's weird, like it's weird. And so I ended up giving Come Fly With Me 5 stars. Camille, I'm obsessed with you. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever even heard of her, so after this video goes up, I will be going in and seeing all the other books that she's previously read, and I will be checking them out because I don't have a lot of like read books that are like historical that I truly enjoyed. Like I have a couple, but I will say this as well. A lot of the historical books that get popular, and a lot of the ones that I have personally read, happened during World War II. And I've always been searching for books that are historical, but that take place during different times, focusing on different current events, no, not current, focusing on different events that happened back then that were important, that were impactful, that kind of just go untold. And so I think that's why I'm always just like shying away from historical fiction, because 9 times out of 10 the most popular ones are about the Holocaust, and I've read a handful of them, and they are great books, but I'm ready for something new. I'm ready to learn about other stories. I'm ready to look at new perspectives, and I think as readers we should always be looking for stories that we've never heard of, stories that we have never heard about. And this was such a great depiction of that, especially, you know, living in the United States, being an American, being a woman. It felt very personal to read historical fiction that was kind of focused on someone else's perspective of life in the 60s. It was really good. So I will insert a clip of me like officially finishing the book. It's gonna be super quick because it's honestly so embarrassing. But yeah, so I'll insert that clip. But I just want to say that the book was fantastic, and if you love historical fiction, if you're into women's fiction, you need to read this book. And Camille, if you're watching, you are perfection. That's all I have to say. You're great. All right, guys. Bye.